Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ears to the East, where we got a topic actually that I was thinking about the other day, and I really want to talk about this because we speak often when we're talking about Japanese music and with like followers and everything. We talk a lot about musicians. Now, I'm often someone who I love to talk about songwriting, but musicians is a hot topic. And there's certain musicians who we always talk about, like the Miyakos from LOVEBITES, the MISAs from BAND-MAID, the sort of quintessential people who always come up in conversation. But I was thinking there are a lot of Japanese musicians in Japanese bands who do not get enough love. And believe me, there's going to be a lot of people right now who are going to be in the comments like immediately. They've already started typing because they know who they want to say who it is. I thought this is a topic that we need to sit down and talk about today. Japanese artists who are just, musicians in bands who maybe just quietly at the back of the stage, quietly to the side of the stage, just don't call attention to themselves, but are doing insanely awesome things. I wanted to throw that one open for a little bit of discussion. I mean, one of the ones that comes to mind, although this is probably not the most quintessential example, but obviously we talk about Hanabiya a lot, and when you talk about Hanabiya, everyone talks about Yukina. Matsuri, brilliant. She doesn't do the growling vocals. Yeah, I know I'm going to get that thing again. But she's there. She's like, she writes half the songs from what I heard. Amazing, guitarist, vocalist. That's one. But there's a lot more, much more underrated musicians out there. So I put this idea up. I'd love to know what you guys think. Who would you say?
I picked three. I got three ready to go.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. All right, first one.
My first one
Don't pick mine.
Don't pick your. That's what I was scared about. I was like, Howard, shut up. Don't.
Damn.
Because every time he says
chance.
something, I have like everything pre-planned, and he yaps so much that like half my shit is like gone by the time I get round to it. So I'm like, yes, I'm going first this time. Fuck you.
Talk quicker. Right.
Yeah. But my first pick is actually Miyu from Asterism. And the reason why I picked this is because I feel like he does absolutely amazing bass work, by the way, but I feel like he is really overshadowed by Halka, because let's be honest, when you think of Asterism, you look at her. I think most of shall we say the male orientated fans are probably more fixated on her than of him, which is really unfair.
She's the guitarist, though.
She's the guitarist and the front woman, and she takes a lot of that spark. But I think if you listen to them, if you took Asterism away, like visually, and just played the music, like he does such incredible bass work, and I really think he's really underappreciated. Are we gonna go through our picks all at once, or are we gonna go like round in a circle?
Let's just go around and discuss each one. Yeah, I mean,
I think that's a really good pick.
Yeah,
I think he's just amazing, and especially because they are just a three-piece band, I think he's absolutely essential.
Yeah, I feel like I as much as I love them, and as much as I love Halka as well, I think I think the attention is like so on her. Like he gets really kind of shoved to the side a little bit, I think, and he deserves way more attention than I think he gets.
Does my sound better now?
Yeah.
You're fine.
You always sound and look good.
Oh, I was using like the little cheap microphone in the laptop. I just switched it over to the extremely expensive one, so it doesn't sound any better. Then that was a waste of money. I think one of the reasons why he's obviously the perfect pick for this is because when you first said the name, I was like, shit, which one is he?
Exactly.
Same. And he said the bassist. I was like, oh, okay, good. I think
you can make a shout for Mio as well, the drummer, like for the exact same region. But I just think like Miyu is a little bit more talented.
Every time, like when I heard that album by them, like Aside, I think it was, I was like, yeah, because I went into them because I'd heard all the hype, mostly around her. And then when I heard them, I was like, wow, the whole band is good. And the bass very much, I agree, he was really great. I think it's slightly let down by the fact every time I think about him, because I didn't have like much visual knowledge of them before this album came out. Now the image that comes into my head is the album cover for that album, which is quite possibly, I maintain, the worst album cover in history. It's one of those ones that people will find it in a bargain bin like in 30 years time and look at it and go, Jesus, what is this? Why do they look like this? What's happening? Why are their brains being removed? These are like happy people. Who was the director who told them to look miserable? But yes, the album is full of life, even if the cover photo is not. And yeah, he was fantastic as a bass player. I totally agree. Totally agree.
Guernica plus A. You have to listen to it.
Which one?
Guernica plus A. It's an album by Asterism.
Oh, okay, that's clearly one that I missed. Yeah, I've heard like a few of their songs and then like a side.
It's really good.
What he said.
All right, next suggestion.
Okay, yeah, I have one. I'm not even sure of his full name. His name is Mao, and he's a keyboarder. I think in Lightbringer. Is he in Lightbringer? I'm kind of confusing it sometimes.
I actually don't
I think
know
he's
this.
writing also music for Lovebites, if I'm not mistaken, and
Wow.
I think also some
I
other
know
things.
this.
And he's a keyboarder himself. And I think, yeah, he does some great job. I've seen his name in a lot of things, but you never really get a face to it.
As we're not that familiar, and it seems like many people might not be, sing some of his virtues, sell it so that people go and listen to his music directly after. Tell us why we need to get people going listening to.
Yeah, I don't know that much about him as myself, but like I said, he wrote some songs, I think, on Judgment Day as well. And he's like involved in a lot of Japanese groups in the music production, also just some songs or whole projects, like I think in Lightbringer. And yeah,
so he's more like a force for general good in a lot of like music, but just doesn't get like the love he deserves for that.
Yeah. And he's also not always a musician in the group. He's sometimes more really in the background.
Yeah.
Geez, all that work and he's probably not getting any groupies.
I know.
I know. So
that's what we're here for, the world's worst groupie.
Less hard work, just plainly guitar. Oh, all right. Suddenly he's got my
I have to look it up myself. Maybe I'm talking bullshit.
It's all right. It's all right. Talk the bullshit. Just get him some groupies. The guy is not getting the love he deserves. But that, I mean, so he's kind of, I think, like a lot of keyboard players, he's a songwriter, I'm guessing there from what you're saying. So he's very much somebody who likes to construct the music, and when he's on stage, it's mostly just as a. When I did that interview with Tonespin recently, I was kind of surprised to find their keyboard player basically writes pretty much everything. I was like, wow, okay, that's kind of cool. So he's like in there playing the keyboard, but mainly he's.
I think his name is Mao Yamamoto.
Oh, Mao Yamamoto. Okay. There we go. Well, that's the name. I wish I could add more to that, but I don't really know.
Yeah, me too.
It's amazing because it sounds like I've probably been hearing a lot of his work. So anyone in the comments who wants to give us more information on Mao
just
Yamamoto.
a name I've always it's floating around.
I know that name associated to Lovebites. When you said it at first, I was like, who? But then as soon as you said Lovebites and the guy producing and helping writing the songs, I was like, oh yeah, because I've heard the exact same thing. Outside of Lovebites, not a clue.
Okay. It's just a name we got to keep a little bit of an eye on. All right. I'm going to throw in. I'm going to almost go antithetical to what this whole thing was. I'm going to mention the lead singer and guitarist of a band because of the fact that I think that she is woefully underrated.
I would cheat on the homework assignment again.
Well, we're talking about a band where everyone is rated higher than the lead guitarist and singer. Like everyone else has like loads of fans, and the lead guitarist and singer does not have much in the way of fans. Sue from Silent Siren, who she gets a little bit of I think from a lot of Western fans, she gets a bit of heat for having a high-pitched voice, but again, she's a fantastic singer. If you hear her singing, like they did some songs like she on the most recent Silent Siren album before the hiatus and then coming back. She's done some songs acoustic where you hear her voice and she's got a very good voice. But moreover, she is an incredibly good guitarist. She plays rhythm guitar. So as a result, again, and in sort of poppy songs, so she gets overlooked. But if you hear her play guitar, like just the touch, the feel, sort of the whole, she's got this brilliant feel to it. And if you just hear her playing guitar, like sometimes she's done like sessions, like Fender sessions and things where you see a video of her going and playing, just, when you hear someone and just the whole way they like strike the chord, everything just sounds brilliant. Like they just have a natural feel to it. It's very effortless. She's like that. I think she's one of the most effortless like front people when it comes to rhythm and vocals, and I think overlooked a little bit for the poppy persona and everything, but really great. And everyone's always like, oh, the bass player, she's fantastic, she does the slapping like with Anyan. Yukaron, just because hashtag no bias, Yukaron is amazing.
I think it's
they
just
don't have-
because the music is more focused on those parts. That's why she's not standing out so much.
I think it might be that, but I think also because they're quite a poppy group, a lot of people want to justify that this is a really good band, and so the best way to justify, oh, they're a really good band, is to not focus on the lead singer, but so you've got a fantastic bassist and they talk all that stuff, which is true, but sometimes, you know, I wonder if that's the thing, it's just people trying to break the poppy image. But yeah, I gotta say, I think Sue, for a lead singer and guitarist, she's got all of that going for her, and yet I think she's totally underrated, you know. Never comes up on anyone's list of like really great front people, and yeah, I think she is like amongst the best. Really just brilliant singer, musician, whole thing. So I'm throwing her in there. I don't think either of you guys are too familiar with Silent Silence. I'm going to move on to Neon's next pick.
I know Silent Silence a little bit. I won't say I'm an expert, but I've dabbled in them a little bit. For me, probably my most contentious choice, I think, because I still think she is quite popular, I would say, overall. But but the reason why she's on this list is one word and one word only that overshadows her completely. And that one word is Fuki. So you know who I'm going to say now. Jill from Unlucky Morpheus. I feel like in another alternate universe somewhere, Fuki doesn't exist and she would get so much more attention than she does.
But would she, without Fuki, would she be in a band that, I mean, she's already in a band that gives her a platform to be extremely popular, and I think that's because of Fuki. Whereas if she was in a band without Fuki, maybe the band just wouldn't be anywhere near as popular.
That's definitely another subject, I think, for another day, a completely different question.
Yeah.
But yeah, I for good or for worse, I think Fuki being in there definitely makes that band Unlucky Morpheus like what it is. I mean, you only need to look at Fuki, and she's just one of those really photogenic people that you just kind of look at and you're just like, whoa.
In every hairstyle.
And in every hairstyle. She is like literally the epitome of like an anime girl in real life. Like it doesn't get closer to that. But I think... Oh, sorry.
Go, sorry.
No, I was going to... Go on.
No, just Neon, talk. I talk enough.
I was going to say, so when it comes down to that, I think purely based off that basis, which is thin enough as it is, I do realize that because I know she is very popular. But I feel like just in the terms of Unlucky Morpheus and all the other things that she does as well, because she's in so many bands and has been in so many bands, she's been around for a long, long time as well. Like she is hitting 40 now, I believe. And she does not look it. She looks like she's in her like early 20s still. But she's been around a long, long time.
Fountain of youth.
I know, and I just feel like her, not only on YouTube that she risen to popularity, but I think maybe in like the band kind of ecosystem, I feel like Unlucky Morpheus is kind of like her big sort of break. I know she's had a few bands before that, so a lot of people in the comments go, she was known for this as well. But I think her most popular thing is Unlucky Morpheus, and even then, I feel like she's overshadowed by Fuki, which is criminal.
I'm gonna respond by mentioning a name that I was going to mention separately, but now it's such a beautiful counter to what you said that I got to discuss it, which is that I had back here, and I'm just checking her age now at the moment to see if I can find out, but I had Rina from Alia. Have you heard of Alia, and do you know who Rina is?
No.
Exactly. Alia are interesting in a lot of ways. There's a similarity. They're a Japanese, obviously, group who do really interesting songs. They got like obviously the usual bass, drums, guitar, vocals, but they also have a keyboard player and a violinist. Now, Rina is the violinist. She has a very large input in all of the songs. Fantastic. She also plays keyboard. She also does writing, everything. She's like, she's exactly what you would describe with Jill from Unlucky Morpheus, but she doesn't have the fame because her band is famous in Japan, but they just don't have the breakout quality they don't have a sound that would translate well to a Western audience, I think. So it's interesting because she is, for me, she's like an exact mirror to what you're describing there, but without the platform of something so internationally popular as Unlucky Morpheus. I mean, Japan, it's fine, but I don't think she has the breakout quality. So yeah, I think violinists as a general deserve some love.
They do. Love a good violinist.
But I do think that, I mean, outside of Fuki, like Jill is a very close second for the most.
She is a
popular
very
member of
close
Unlucky
second.
Morpheus.
Yeah, she is a very close second for sure. I probably should have gone with a guitarist or something, but I just
I think you probably.
but the problem is though, 9 times out of 10, you ask somebody Unlucky Morpheus, and the first thing they'll go is Fuki. Like,
that's interesting. I'm going to assume you're right, but I would have assumed that it would probably been probably as many people saying Jill, but that might just be what I'm used to. Maybe I'm just around that circle of people, but that is an interesting one. Benedict, any thoughts on this, or do you want to add another name in?
Sheeran. That's what I thought about.
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
No, Sheeran from Unlucky Morpheus.
So yeah, you could really
don't know the name.
You could really put.
He's one of the guitarists.
Yeah, you could really put any of them behind Fuki. I think Fuki overshadows that whole entire band for better or for worse. And that, I don't know. You the audience can make of that as you will.
So who's next on your list, Benedict?
Well,
you got a list.
I find it interesting that you want to push violinists so much, because I apparently try to push keyboardists, because my next one would be Oreo. And it's interesting because it's another group, Gatric Spin, where you could probably put everyone.
Yeah.
Because there's not really the leader of the group. I mean, they have like Angie as the main vocalist, kind of, but also only kind of. And they all play their, I would say, same significantly part. But she has an amazing voice. She's my favorite singer of the group, together with Angie, I would say. She isn't used as much, which I find interesting, because her voice, it's really, really good. And all the things she does with her keyboards.
I think she's amazing as a show person on stage. She's got a fantastic stage persona, brilliant keyboard player, fantastic as a guitarist as well, vocally amazing. We heard a video though, like someone gave me a live video of hers to comment on my Twitch stream, and I was watching it back, and I was saying she's got an incredible voice, but I noticed that she was frequently flat. And it was obvious that it wasn't because she lacks the talent. It was like you could tell she was kind of exhausted. And so I think maybe like singing on stage just doesn't really match her very well. Because some people in the comments were saying, oh, she's so flat. And I was like, look at her. This is clearly late in the show, and she looks
interesting
exhausted.
Because that's something I heard about Matsuri quite a lot of times. There's a discussion going on if she's trying to hit like the microtonal notes, like in between the notes. So it's intentional to sound a bit weird.
Sounds
Some
like people might
just
be
say she can sing, which I don't believe. But
I think she's just like your normal sort of like slightly punky rock singer, and that she's not like pin perfect on every note, but she's just about conveying attitude. She's improved as a singer. I think probably people are looking to make excuses when they say
she sounds really great in the last.
Yeah, she just maybe some people like have a little bit of trouble getting the singing perfect every single night on the tour, but I think that's part of the joy of seeing someone live. They don't pin it every single time, but they give it their all, and that's so long as they don't sound shit, which she never sounded bad to me, then give them a bit of room to be not pin perfect. I'm fine with that. It's probably true, but with Oreo though, I think that's a great pick. Although I do again think that if anyone knows Gatric Spin, they probably know all the members, because every single member kind of runs the risk of being underestimated.
It's true.
The amount they all do.
But I think it's the same for all these. Like, for example, BAND-MAID. Which one would you choose, like, to be the hidden, unnoticed member? There isn't really one.
They're one of those bands again where everyone has like their fans. Everyone has. I mean, even Konami, she's the quietest one, and yet her input's massive as a songwriter, and she has people who love her for being the quiet one. So I don't think that's the kind. I mean, interesting enough, when you look at like LOVEBITES, I think her name is Haruna, the drummer.
That would be my third pick.
Fuck's sake! No, this is why you don't let him.
This is my pick.
Yeah, slow.
This is why we do not let him talk, because it ruins our pick.
Neon, listen to me. Stop trying to steal my ideas, okay? Anyway, I think she's kind of often overlooked just because like everyone else in the band is so great the drumming is almost like the bit that's ubiquitous, sort of like somebody does like the double kick drum stuff. But I think she's really great. And so many double kick drum fanatic bands don't manage to like feel the drummer who can do that whilst also sounding very much a member of the band. She never feels like she's pushing to the front, but she supports everyone great. And she gives a drum beat that's just,
Yeah, I always feel like drummers are like probably the hardest to integrate into a band sometimes, just because of what they do. They are sat at the back. It's very hard to get them to interact with the fellow band members and live shows and stuff like that. It is pretty hard to get to get a drummer involved. I feel like how you make a drummer popular is through your PR team, really, your promotions, your photos, your shots, things like that, your interviews. You need to get your drummer involved, because I feel like drummers do kind of just fade into the background a little bit too much.
I think if it's a bigger band, definitely a bigger band with big personalities. I mean, the funny thing is Akane, obviously, in BAND-MAID is very much brought to the fore. But the interesting thing is, if you look at the way Akane, and I love when people have this, you're either a LOVEBITES or a BAND-MAID fan. It's like they're totally different bands. You can enjoy them for different reasons. But like, I love that Haruna and Akane's way of interpreting songs is totally different depending on what the writing process is. But Haruna more feels like she gives like a rolling track, like a rolling road underneath the song, and she adds the feels and everything, but she's really good at sort of like laying down like a space where the rest of the band can work without making it boring. Whereas I feel like Akane, she listens to the whole arrangement and she like pulls out individual bits, and like her drum beats constantly are changing to sort of wrap around the song. It's like a totally different approach. And yet both in their own bands work perfectly. And I don't think if you swapped them into each other's bands, I don't think either of them would work. I think they work perfectly with the bands they're in. So a drummer can sometimes be the quiet voice, but so important. And on that note, I'm going to bring in Nagisa from TRIDENT. TRIDENT, I think, for a free piece, one of the very few free pieces where every single member on their own is worthy of massive credit. I mean, Serena is an amazing bassist, totally underrated, gives backing vocals. She's fantastic. But if we're talking about drummers, Nagisa is just incredible. And she also, Nagisa gets often overrated by the fact that their previous drummer, Juna, everyone's always like, oh, Juna was so great. And I keep on getting this in comments when you talk about like TRIDENT. People are like, oh, but Juna's great. You should check out what Juna's doing now. I was like, yeah, I'm sure she's great. But you know what? I actually prefer Nagisa. She might not be, maybe she isn't as technical, but I think she's so good at interpreting a song, that Akane quality, just listening to the song and going, I know what this needs, and like laying down a beat that's perfect for the song. She reads the song and gives a perfect beat, and she does it with such a smile, such a incredible energy as well. Yeah, I think Nagisa gets a lot of crap just because she's not the original drummer, but god damn it, she's perfect.
Yeah,
bending that shit.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Sorry, everyone else is like, fuck, how would you talk about another band?
I was just on one.
Like, I care about this. I care about this.
Yeah.
Here's to Howard's emotional problems.
For my last pick, like I said, Haruna was definitely one on my mind. She was actually my backup. She was my backup one, just in case any of you any got nicked. But
and then I nicked your backup.
And then you nicked my backup, yeah. Benedict sat there like, well, fuck you. But probably the one probably least known, although in many circles, depends who you ask, but I feel like probably the least internationally or even like audience maybe appreciated. Like anybody that's been in my Discord and my videos, like they know how much I absolutely dote on this man. If I was gay, this man is the sexiest looking man I've ever seen in my life.
Man crush. His man
it
crush.
It is a man crush indeed.
Here we go. Here we go.
He has the absolute skills on a guitar that is just pretty much unrivaled.
Just be glad you can't see Neon at waist height right now.
I know. And obviously my dream is to own one of his guitars because they are the most beautiful fucking things like known to mankind.
Here it comes.
But I would say underappreciated by a hell of a lot, which is really weird because I feel like in Japan he's really well known. I feel like in the music industry over there he's really well respected.
Attention on Benedict's face where he's like, who is this?
Who is this guy? Takayoshi Amora, I feel like is
I know the name.
Is by far one of the most prominent gods to ever wield a guitar. He is absolutely fucking amazing. And it annoys me so much. Oh, probably the good thing, but also the bad thing, because Baby Metal introduced me to him. But to have him just labeled as like one of the Kami band is an insult. The guy is absolutely majestic.
That's a
Everything
really
he does.
interesting point. That's a really interesting point. Like sometimes someone could be prominent in their own scale, but if they fall into the orbit of a much bigger artist, then it could because if you're in Kami band, it doesn't matter how big you were before in your own space, you are now tiny.
No,
Like
so tied to the
Baby
Kami
Metal.
band. And he does so much amazing stuff. Been on guest guitarists, been on so many albums with people, and just like the guy's done it all, and he is so well respected, I think, everywhere. But I just feel like he just doesn't get the love he deserves. I feel like he gets the love he deserves, again, for being a member of the Kami band, for being attached to Baby Metal. But I don't think he gets the appreciation of being Amora, and being his own individual like musician and artist, and everything that he's done outside of the Kami band. And I feel like for that, he is massively underappreciated. It's not one of the first names that pop up like as the greatest guitarists ever, and I feel like he is like top 5. He is up there. Personally, subjectively, I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think.
I mean, again, I think this is what, because there are so many names. There's no way in a world we have enough time to touch them all. I think this comment section is going to be alive with comments. And I was thinking maybe we should do on our community page a poll to find out who the most popular underrated person is. But then we'd have to reverse it and say whoever gets the least points is the actual winner.
The actual winner.
Most points, you're clearly not underrated if you win the most points. So it's like we have to reverse the score. It's like, vote for the person, vote against the person who you think needs to win. So that's an interesting
I have one mention, because it's kind of similar to the Baby Metal Kami band thing, is the zombie band from Broken by the Scream. Because the backing band of Broken by the Scream, they are really insanely good. It's crazy. But you don't really focus on it because the music is so chaotic and so crazy and so wild. But the musicians are really, really good. And I mean, you can tell it. I know Howard has his problems.
Yeah, I mean, not many people know
chaotic and the word mess.
But just listen to the instrumental parts in some of those songs. These jazzy parts, you can tell. And then they switch to the metal without any problems. They are really, really good. All of them.
It certainly is a talent to play a song while someone else is playing a different song at the same time. I agree.
I just find it interesting. Do you think it's a thing the label demands, that they are wearing masks and not showing their face, so they will not take away the attention from the girls?
Quite possible. I mean,
because why wouldn't you show yourself?
Like the Kami band thing. So you don't want the backing members to become more of a personality, because then it's like, well, what are people tuning in for? Because it's like, it's no longer our girl group if people are tuning in for the musicians. But if you make them mysterious, it just adds an extra layer that people can get into in a different way.
That's kind of like that weird thinking of the Japanese, because that's weird to me, because I'm also tuning in to listen to the music.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you combine. That's what happens when you combine a girl group with a metal group, which is basically what Japan's been trying to do. You can't. Because the thing is, this is what I was saying about the Metalverse thing, is like, if you're going to put like 9 people on stage, 4 of them are musicians, 4 of them are singing but not making any sound, and then one person's dancing but not making any sound, and then one person's singing and dancing. But you say the musicians are the 4 people who are not actually the band you came to see. It's like, I mean, this is the problem when you combine a pop group with that, basically people are there to see and be fans of the pop group, whilst the band, the musicians, actually play the music. So I guess anyone who's in one of those backing bands probably deserves this particular thumbs up. Thank you for doing that. Same Passcode have a band as well. I don't know if it's always the same band, but I think it was at least for a while. Credit to them. These people deserve their love, because half the time they're forced behind masks and things for good commercial reasons.
Again, I'm not a fan of that. Again, going back to what we said in the other video, I thought that for me, Baby Metal peak was when the Kami band were in full force and they had faces and the white man. I thought that was really
faces.
They had, you saw them, you got to know them a little bit more, and it was more charismatic. And then again, they shoehorned them and behind masks and shooed them to one side. And I totally don't agree with that.
I think when a band like Baby Metal is already like massively famous, then you can afford to like bring the backing band forwards a little bit more, because you know the band is already so famous. It's not like they're going to get overridden by the backing group. But when you got a group who are like sort of famous but within a niche, they're probably a bit worried about making the backing band more famous, because it could be that as the group grows, as the group grows, group grows as the group grows,
the group grows. Howard's thinking about grouping.
What's a group? Oh wait, it's like, well, one would overtake the other, and it could like completely mess with the image they're trying to design. But then again, just go with what people buy, I guess. So any other examples that we think are worth mentioning right here and right now before we open this up to the joy of the audience to say who they think are underrated musicians?
Oh, those are the three that I could think of in the like a couple of minutes we had to start this video. But
bassists always used to be underrated, but I think a lot of the time, especially in Japan, bassists are so integral to the song that I think a lot of Japanese bassists get a lot of love. I mean, as we said in previous videos, like a lot of the time before the singing's even started, I can usually tell a Japanese and a Western rock song apart, because in a Western rock song, the bass and the guitar are playing the exact same thing, and in a Japanese
maybe that's
song,
why it's standing out to us. Because we are used to music with a lot less bass.
Well, that was one of the reasons why I just fell in love with Japanese music, like full stop, because of the bass, how prominent the bass is. I love a good bass, and Japanese music always makes it so much more technical, so much more fun to listen to as well as the songwriting over there is top notch compared to exactly what Howard said. Like, just hearing the bass play 90% of what the guitar is playing is boring sometimes in the West, so it's nice to see the bass fill in. Again, that's one of the main reasons why I love BAND-MAID so much. MISA's fucking, for me personally, the best at it. When every time
I think the MISA and Akane combo really.
Yeah. Every time there's like a 2-second
combo.
Every time there's a little stop gap in the song, Misa's filling in something somewhere. There's always a bass part in between, like verses and choruses, outros, beginnings, breakdowns. Like, she's got it all, as well as a slapping bass line whilst the guitars are going as well. And to have that so prominent is one of the reasons why I totally just fell down that rabbit hole.
MISA is a wonderful example of the fact that even though some musicians get overrated, she's a wonderful example of how like a musician who in a lot of other circumstances would be overlooked. Sorry, not overlooked. My words are a mess today. In most other situations, MISA would be overlooked, but in Japan, I think the sort of people who are into Japanese music, because it's drawn so many people who genuinely love good music and good arrangements, good musicianship, that's why MISA stands out, is because the sort of people looking for bands like BAND-MAID are looking for really good musicianship, and then someone like her stands out. I think MISA is a wonderful example of how that is the case, and it's nice because you can tell the fandom that she's got has pushed, I think, like when they do their studio recordings, has pushed the production and mixing to concentrate more on not just using her as like a sound to like gel everything together, but give her a bit of prominence in the mix as well.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
So I think that's probably in response to the fan thing. But as we're starting to run out of time, I will quickly mention, I think we've come to probably the conclusion that the three types of people who are most overlooked are the ones who are involved in projects where there's a big artist involved and they're in the backing band. Drummers, although a lot of drummers get love, drummers still don't get much love because they're sitting behind a wall of metal. And also
just not the main focus of the music.
Yeah, which is a shame because they're so integral to everything that happens.
Yeah.
And then obviously the ones who I think add such interesting and different color, the keyboard players and violinists, those who play those little instrument X's, which are not the contemporary rock instruments that everyone gravitates towards, but usually give bands their individual quality. So got to give a bit of love for them as well. But there you go, those are our thoughts. Love to know what people say in the comments, what names people bring up. Who do you think is underrated? Who do you think is those members of bands who are contributing more than they get credit for? I'd love to know. It can even be singers. I was thinking the other day about how Wasita, who are basically a girl band who dance around in kitty ears, but they are the most incredible four singers. Like, their voices are unbelievable. Like, even live whilst dancing, they sing better than most people can sing just holding a microphone. Brilliant singers. It could be anything, whatever you think is.
Oh
shit, I'll take it back. I take it back. The heavenly sounds of Benedict. I have ascended. Yeah, I think whatever you think is genuinely underrated in a way that you'd love more people to pay attention to it. Get in the comments. Tell me what you think. Tell us what you want to add to that list. And are we good for this one, guys? Shall we check out?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, guys, everyone at home, remember to keep your ears to the east. Ah!